My name's Meade, and I am CEO and founder of BigBamboo LLC. And I think the question I get asked all the time, or I ask people as well, what's the number one question in a startup or a business you should ask yourself? And I get questions and answers like, oh, how are you going to make money? No, the number one question you should always ask when you start a business is, why won't this work? You need to go into every business soliciting negative information and negative feedback. If I go and tell you, look how great my company is, you're going to give me platitudes. Oh yeah, it's great. I don't need platitudes. I need to know, hey, why won't this work? Why don't you like it? Who's my competition? What am I doing wrong? What am I missing? And when you go in with a negative aspect, it turns into a positive because that gives you the true feedback. So that's one of the things. Another one I'm a big proponent of is I ask people all the time, and this is part of what I teach, is I say what you do is irrelevant, what you need is important. And I have a way of sequencing down to figure out what people need, what they need is. But one of the quick questions is, if I looked at you and said, who are the 3 to 5 people you need to meet right now to move your business forward? By name, who are those people? I get blank stares all the time of people going, I don't know, I haven't thought about it. And that's a travesty. It's not my job to help you figure out your business. So figuring out who your 5 people are and how you get to those 5 critical people is a really important step in business. And that's a lot of what I teach, is some of that critical thinking of how to get down to those names, how to identify people, and then most importantly, how to leverage your network to get introductions to the people that you want to go meet and add value to.
So how would you define brand identity?
Brand identity to me is more about what somebody thinks about or feels about your company and your product and your logo. Right? And I give an example. Again, I'm fortunate to do a lot of speaking at colleges and companies, and I've done some on branding. And I have a really cool slide I love putting up that says, here's this company and look how evil they are. They make $1.5 million per employee. They have $19 billion in cash. They only pay 1% taxes. They charge 30% more for their product than all of their competitors. They have a near monopoly, right? And I go down this list of all these things that are pejoratively evil. And then I put up a slide and said, if I told you that company was Shell Oil, what would you think? And the crowd hisses and boos, oh, we know oil's evil. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, it's not. And I put the next slide up. And that slide is Apple. You learn a lot from your missteps. I saw a great infographic the other day from Elon Musk. It wasn't Elon's, but somebody did. I actually just wrote an article yesterday going against him. I said Elon's really boring and has a hole in his head because I was being controversial. But there's an infographic of all of the rocket failures. If you just looked at that infographic of all the failures, you think this guy will never make it. And so I encourage people a lot of times is find your hero. Who is somebody in business or life you emulate or admire? And then read their biography, because those biographies will tell you a lot more about the failures and the misses. And those are what you really need to learn from. So sharing the misses, I don't have an issue with, as long as A, you're doing it in a way that helps other people accelerate knowledge, and B, you're learning from those mistakes. So you try and not make them again, and then you can help other people not make the same mistakes. 99% of the things you worry about never happen, so why worry? People get caught up in a lot of the really small things. There's a great book out there called Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. So not trying to get caught up in small pedantic things that can't be controlled, not trying to get emotional about things, taking a more long-term holistic view. I've learned to set goals very far in the future, and I have a very specific outline of things I want to accomplish in my life. And I teach people how to try and live in that moment of accomplishment years in the future. And I give the analogy, it's like climbing a mountain, right? If you're climbing a mountain, it's not a straight shot up, it's back and forth and ups and downs. The mission to your goal is that same thing. But if you live in that moment of on top of the mountain, it's a state of what I call peaceful frustration. It's like I'm at peace thinking I'm going to accomplish all of my goals, and I visualize every day living in that moment. The frustration is I just don't know when I'm going to get there. But it's like climbing a mountain. Every day you just keep trudging along towards a goal, but having a very specific outline of a defined goal helps you move along because you don't get caught up in the little turns and switchbacks and hitches along the way. It's just one step in the journey to where you're already living.